Hi, my name is Neil Gardner. I'm a chiropractic intern at Parker College of Chiropractic. I am from Jamaica. I'm a Jamaican. And we had a wonderful Olympics, and that in itself was a huge miracle and all that transpired there. Um, I am in my 8th trimester, which means I get to graduate and become a true full-fledged doctor of chiropractic in just a little bit under 8 months. So I'm pretty excited about that. I have quite a few things that have happened throughout my lifetime that are miraculous. And to me, a miracle is just anything that happens outside of the ordinary that cannot be explained by just mere chance or coincidence. It cannot be calculated by mathematical probabilities. It's just something that requires, in my estimation, the hand of God. Whether it is a new life that is being born into this world, or a storm that's coming and just decides to not decimate an entire country. Things of various natures, various sizes can be considered miracles, and that's the standpoint from which I'm going to speak about my experiences. I learned about chiropractic. My earliest memory about chiropractic was I was probably 10 or 11 years old, and I was walking in a medical complex in Jamaica. And I remember seeing this word that I could not pronounce. It's a word that I'd never seen in my entire life. And I've never actually shared this story with anyone. It just somehow came to me just now. And I was Chiro. I could not understand how to pronounce those combination of letters to formulate the word chiropractic. And little did I know that 20 years later, I would receive a phone call asking me if I'd be interested in becoming a chiropractor. In Jamaica, there were at the time 5 chiropractors practicing, and there are 2.5 million people. So to have me get this opportunity in and of itself was the first miracle. I remember eating lunch somewhere obscure in Kingston, and I received a phone call that they have a new organization that I was a part of. They're giving out scholarships to persons who were in the Olympic Games, and because of my history in sports and being involved in the Olympics, I was afforded that opportunity to study to become a doctor of chiropractic. So I started investigating what is this chiropractic about, how long has it been around, and I was surprised to find out that it was over 100 years old. And I was pretty amazed by that fact. And as I researched and looked into it, and I looked into myself and all the experiences that I had up to this point, I realized something very important. That every single thing, every mistake that was made in my life, every choice that I made, every decision, every incident that occurred up to that point prepared me totally for the experience of becoming a doctor of chiropractic. And I never knew that I was meant to be a chiropractor until that moment. And then everything became crystal clear. I remembered when I told my wife, and when I told her that I received this call to change our lives, to uproot ourselves, which meant that I would probably have to take her or me by myself and move to the United States, or wherever a chiropractic college was that was offering the scholarship, that I would have to remove her from her family and friends. For her to be willing to just say yes in itself was a little miracle. But we sat and we talked about it, and we were very excited about the possibilities and the prospects, and we prayed and we sought God, and we were convinced that this was what He wanted. We were certain of it because as the time got closer, everything started to fall into place. It's like you're walking through a fog and you cannot see anything beyond just a couple feet or a couple steps in front of you. But as you walk further and further into the depth of the unknown, more is revealed. And that's exactly what was happening in our transition from a life of teaching, which I was for 7 years, into now a new direction of chiropractic. as we received more information, as we got closer to the date that we would have to make that decision to become a chiropractor, things would have had to change dramatically for us to be able to uproot ourselves and be able to afford to move to a foreign country without a job, without the possibility of a job, without any money per se, and to be able to survive. About 7 months before I would have had to leave for chiropractic college, we stumbled across an investment company, and we were able to save with them and earn tremendous returns on our money. And that allowed us to be able to live for the first, say, 7 months, 8 months of our time here in the US. It allowed us to be able to move from Jamaica to here. When we came here, we had to sell off everything that we owned, our cars, which were not very much. I mean, both cars put together was about one car or a half a car. It wasn't even that much. But we had to get rid of everything that we had, all our stuff that we had acquired over the years, and move to a foreign land. We decided that what we would do in that transition was we would not only try to sell off everything, but we'd give away stuff. We would try to use what we had to bless those who were less fortunate. Because in life, I realized two things. One, there's always somebody greater than you. And two, there's always somebody behind you. And so, since we wanted to receive from those ahead of us, we would have had to be willing to give to those behind us. And that's exactly what we did. And as we gave in that leap of faith, when we got here, we knew that we needed a 2-bedroom place so that we could have somewhere to study and somewhere to sleep. And when we got here, we didn't have the money to be able to afford furniture and everything. When we got here, my wife's sister knew someone who was renovating a 2-bedroom complex. And the previous owners had left all their furniture. And he said to us, you can have anything that you want in here. And when we looked through the checklist of everything that we needed and looked at what was being provided, it was like check, 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 right down the line. And not only things are being checked off, but to a higher degree of quality than we would have even been able to afford. So of course, when we moved in, her family came with us and helped us to move. Within a day and a half, we had put all this furniture that we got from this other place into our new place. Our apartment was completely furnished by the second day that we were there, and we didn't spend more money than just to ship the things from Florida, which is where we had gotten it, to Texas, which is where we were. And anyone who came to visit us would have wondered how much money that we had. They would have assumed that we were wealthy. And they wouldn't have been incorrect. They would have been, spot on, because our wealth wasn't about our financial position, but it was about being provided for by the universe, by God Himself. And just us being here and my being able to graduate in 8 months, less than 8 months, to be a doctor of chiropractic is the biggest miracle in itself.